The X-tinction Agenda, comics of the 80s, 90s, and more.
We're coming to you directly from the epicenter of a global pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
From the very center. Direct from Wuhan.
Direct from, that's where I am right now. I flew there.
Oh, very irresponsible.
Yeah. Ludicrous.
Yeah. So shit's crazy over there, huh? People are being weird?
Yeah, people are being fucking stupid. Everyone's in a goddamn panic.
Yeah, I was driving, well, I wasn't driving, I was on the bus, and I looked over at Costco, and it looked like a zombie nightmare world in there.
Yeah, it is. I read a CTV, CTV. Like, I don't know if anybody listens to this podcast at all, or if they're familiar with CTV, but this is a pretty mom and pop news outlet for Canada, right? I'm correct there?
I guess so. I mean, the Canadian television.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, they did a
fine.
story about a fist fight over a box of Kleenex this afternoon.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird, the things people are going for, like I'm hearing all this shit about toilet paper and Kleenex.
Toilet paper's gone, bro. There's no toilet paper, there's no Kleenex. Now they've started to turn to the baby wipes. They're cleaning the shelves out of baby wipes for their own selfish needs.
Yeah, well, you don't want to run out of those things. Like, on the one hand, I get it, and on the other hand, it's a ridiculous farce because everybody's just fighting over paper, like just like pulp.
I think materials. Everybody should really go home and do some deep thinking. That is this what modern society is teetering on? Like, are we all walking across like a paper thin layer of fucking membrane of delicacy, and all it takes is not being able to wipe our asses to send us into fucking Mad Max?
Yeah, I think that is the case, though. I think that's always been the case.
Jesus, well, that frightens me.
Yeah, well, and it used to be. I mean, this is what political theorists have written about for, I don't know, since Hobbes, if not longer. It was just more pronounced back then. Like it was a scarcity environment, and people, riots were common. Violence was every day. It was, and that's the world that has, I think you said papered over. That's the world that we've learned to control here in the West, and and I guess this gets down to like Astro City and fucking Dark Knight Returns, if we want to pretend this is a comics podcast, where what do they say in Astro City? Like the other mask is always there, and it's come out for less than this. And this is a perfect example of that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm just it's just frightening. We where I was today, everybody was you could see people gritting their teeth. Like they're on the brink of screaming and pulling their own hair out. Just walking on ice. Like every single person I ran into today, both my coworkers and the people that are there. I'm going to spare everyone any information about it, but about where exactly that is.
Yeah.
But it was spooky.
Right. And on the one hand, okay, I get that. I've also seen I've seen glimmers of kindness. I had reason to go over to the hospital just to pick something up, down the street. And, everybody was very cool over there. Everybody, except for one asshole in the line at Tim Hortons. He was really on edge about, I feel it was racism, ultimately, because, it's a bunch of individuals with, racialized individuals working behind the counter. It's a entry level job. And he was accusing them of, I don't know, touching something or something like that. He was being a real fucking ass.
Yeah, that's big city syndrome right there, though, too.
Yeah, and
the mental ailments come out to play a little more often than other places.
Yeah, but otherwise, everybody was nice. So it was nice to see that in that environment. But yeah, I wouldn't even dare. I made the mistake of stepping into a grocery store because I was just like, I'm just going to go in, I'll get some bananas, I want to get some popcorn, just some snacks, and I was
just try and pretend that like things are okay.
Well,
do
everything's
a normal
fine.
grocery run. Nothing's gonna fucking go wrong.
I underestimated the reaction that everybody would have. I mean, this is all very sudden. Like it's not like this has been going on for a month and a half, I think. And, it's like everybody's shocked that it actually happened. Oh, and they're like, oh, things are closing? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think it's the fucking we're going down the drain pipe here, and the day by day the panic worsens.
Yeah, but we're not. This is fine. Like we're being careful about a flu. Like this is best case scenario, as far as Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about, but it feels this way to me. That this is best case scenario for a global pandemic. Like this isn't Ebola. This is gonna kill people, but it's like this is a test run on what may come in the future. And I think we're doing pretty good. We're gonna have a better, I don't know. It's about as good as it's gonna be.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Like people are shitty at the best of times, and I guess that's really what we're getting down to is like people are extra shitty at the worst of times.
Well, they're extra stupid too. Like it is a flu, but there was like one of the health ministers or whatever described it best is that like it doesn't manifest symptoms for 5 days, like upwards of the better part of a week. So like with carelessness, you could give someone their death sentence.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
we speak about it from a very low risk age bracket, and our children as well, zero risk basically, and then but like it can kill weaker people easily.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which is why we're taking it seriously. But again, a 2% mortality rate, as far as I'm talking about global pandemics. Like this is like what we usually imagine as the global pandemic is not a 2% mortality rate.
No, it's
what
like
we usually
50.
Yeah, that's the popular imagination of,
I want
of
100.
the end of the world. Yeah, and people are thinking, and like that's what's I want 100. That's what's drawing. Like, I don't think that people are operating within the real world when they're reacting this way. Yes, they're operating from a position of fear, but they're operating from decades upon decades of post-apocalyptic fantasy scenarios. Like everybody's imagination has been activated, and unfortunately, the stories that thrill us the most are the ones where everything goes to shit. Look at X-Men. Look at all the.
That's true.
Yeah.
If it got that bad,
Mm-hmm.
I would just kill people and take their toilet paper.
Yeah, and that's still on the table. That's still on the table as a possibility.
I joked around with somebody today, and I said that hoarding money is not going to help when the cannibals come.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't eat money, et cetera, et cetera. We're
just going to be roasting hunks of femur on an open fire. It's over.
Oh my goodness! Oh, Cormac McCarthy time. Jesus. Eating our own stillborn babies. No dice. Remember No Man's Land?
First, it's easy.
No, man, they got all chunks of metal in them. They're all cyborgs. No thanks. Spare hips and stuff.
It's not gonna. You get carcinogens in that when you put it on the fire.
Yeah, man. Not
plastic
good.
knees.
I was gonna say, remember No Man's Land? When Gotham City got cut off from the world, and it just No Man's Land. Like they, that's what it was.
It was Mad Max, right?
Yeah. But I remember one of the little details was that bullets were kind of starting to. If I remember correctly, it was like everybody thought that what everybody thought was going to be valuable, like bullets, turned out to be useless, and batteries were what everybody wanted. Obviously in food and that sort of thing, but I liked that everybody. Anyway,
just that the mass populace like bulked up on things that they thought were going to be important, and that wasn't what you needed.
Yeah, and I guess everything requires them, just like the loss of electricity. And that's another thing that we're going to have running water, we're going to have food chains, we're going to have electricity. It's just going to be like, we're just going to have to chill out, man, and let the storm pass, and maybe, hopefully, learn some lessons about the virtues of socialism from all of this.
You speak like someone who is not appreciating the high levels of stupidity out there.
That might be true.
Oh man, I think 1% of the people I talk to think like that. If I had to guess, maybe the amount of people that think like that are the same amount of people that die from the coronavirus out of 100.
2%,
3 or 4. I thought it was 4.
Numbers are weird. I'm pulling 2%.
You're going down to 2? Okay. Yeah.
I can't cite my source on that one. I just, that's the number I got in my head. Yeah.
Well,
maybe 4, 2.
Yeah.
4's a big deal.
What's improved my bad mood, my bad coronavirus mood, my COVID-19 mood, is this here craft beer that I got from a local brewery. And I'm not going to give them a plug because I don't want anyone to know where I am.
Well, just in case.
Not that matters, but I'm more worried about getting fired than I am about really anything else. But
I can speak to you. I can speak to this. I've studied the labor law and the whatnot. As long as they're not named explicitly, and as long as it's not clear to anyone listening who you're talking about, you can more or less say whatever you want.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say that I have a craft beer.
I just have the beer.
I hate them normally. This one's particularly good.
That's true.
It's a cream ale, and I'm surprised because I thought it was going to suck, but it doesn't suck. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Bang.
Wonderful plug. Secret beer.
Secret beer, secretly good. I'm just saying, maybe you hate craft beer. You're out there living your life. You're having a COVID-19 freak out, and you're like, craft beer is disgusting. But in reality, you just didn't give the refinement of a locally crafted cream ale a chance, and maybe you should. That's all.
Yeah, that's therapy, man. That's nice. That's lovely.
That's positive, and you don't get a lot of that from me.
No, that's fine. The shit, I had a thought piggybacking off of that, but it's fucking garbage. Yeah. So maybe we'll get back to that stuff in a minute, but the ostensible purpose of this podcast is to talk about comic books, and today we're going to get into Detectives Inc.
Oh, yeah.
When was this? This is like 1980. This is May 1980. This baby's coming out.
Mustaches were okay.
Yeah. So Detectives Inc. This is published by Eclipse Enterprises, which are going to become Eclipse Comics. This was sold exclusively in the burgeoning comic shop market by Eclipse, so you could only get this at a comic shop. A remembrance of Threatening Green for mature audiences only.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to make of what I read here. It seems like they were shooting high. I think. The art package on this was great. Like whoever the artist was that worked on this, which I didn't give him props right now because I didn't even look at his name.
Marshall Rogers.
Yeah, Marshall Rogers basically appears to maybe have at some point in his life been like an architectural artist.
Oh, you are absolutely right about that. He was.
Did I hit that?
You hit that, man. No,
Yeah.
it's very. Yeah, go on.
Did you say it's apparent? Yeah, I thought it was pretty. There was some giveaways because like some of those cityscapes and buildings and stuff like that. There's no normal sequential artist that put those kind of things together like that. Like
Yeah, it's very clean. Like he did mechanical drawing and architecture before he fell into comics, and I see it. Yeah, like in his panel layouts, it's very designy. But you can see his figure work. While it's strong, it's still wonky. Like he doesn't express emotion very well sometimes. Like his characters kind of look a little stupid. But then other times they look great. Like he's really close to being the best. But he's,
it was awesome, and the script was wild. It was a bit over the top.
Yeah, okay, so Don McGregor. Back in the 70s, like there was the big names in comics writing were Don McGregor, Steve Englehart, and Steve Englehart has done some other work with Marshall Rogers on Batman. Steve Gerber, and I'm forgetting someone. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, he was one of the big names at the time, and his claim to fame is that he a lot of Black Panther stuff. He did a massive Black Panther arc. Which I don't know, a lot of that stuff that all that Wakanda stuff that comes out of him. He fleshed that place out for the first time. So a little bit of Luke Cage, and then he did a graphic novel prior to this, Saber. He's great, but he's very wordy.
Oh yeah, he did. He had his like little mini synopsis sort of blurbs in the beginning of like his transitions from like sort of story location or story timeline.
Yeah, it's a third.
They were a bit heavy, and like some of it, like, well, a lot of it wasn't necessary.
I think it's like what this book. One of the things I really like about this book is its density. Like those sections weren't strictly speaking necessary, but they do a lot of work to allow you to go from location to location. Because they allowed him to introduce like characters blindly too. Yeah,
like you got Ted's girlfriend, and because of that blurb, you kind of got like more seamless access to her.
Yeah. To Vera. So I don't know, like I see what you're saying. Like a lot of the dialogue's kind of, I think if we were into detective novels and watched a lot of 1970s detective television, I think we would know what's going on here. I think
Columbo?
Maybe not Columbo. Probably more from novels or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know, but like how far removed from Alan Moore is this? The gutters run a desperate current of McDonald's hamburger wrappers, rusted beer cans, dog shit, hope, despair, love, hate, ignorance, and wasted intelligence, and with the memories of blood. It's kind of that.
It's funny. I jotted that down that was the first note I took.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That spoke to me because that's what it's like out there right now.
And especially in New York, like this takes place in the South Bronx. New York in 1980 was like, when they talk about an alien country of condemned buildings, some burned out, some left like crushed brick ash after a Holocaust. There were places in New York that looked like that, so he's evoking some stuff. It doesn't always come off really great, but I don't know, man. It's not bad.
I like the dynamic too that Ted and Bob had, like kind of like a brotherhood. You got to kind of go from story to story, and then they solved a couple of cases through the book, didn't they?
Just two. It feels like they're doing a bunch of stuff, but they're just and they rib each other. They're making fun of each other, and even though like who is it? Rob Reinier. He's a fucking mess. So these are the two detective characters. They are the Detectives Inc. And yeah, Bob Rainier is.
Yeah, Bob has he has issues where was it Bob or Rob?
Oh, I wrote Bob. It's probably Rob. Sorry, I'm half in the dark here.
I actually wrote both names. So,
well,
but yeah, he actually has
it's Bob Rainier.
Bob actually has fucked up sex fantasies every single time he talks to a woman.
Well, especially I'm glad you really got to this
yeah, so, that's not good.
No, he's got a lot of sex. And this book is kind of for mature audiences because he's constantly suffering from these massive sexual anxieties in these visual fantasy scenarios that are played behind conversations. And yeah, Bob. So there's the flashback when he's with his wife, and it's all in silhouette, and I gather that he's trying to go down on her, but she doesn't want him to. She's like, no, I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't like it. So he doesn't.
Oh, okay.
So he just wants to go down on his frigid wife, right?
Right.
And their relationship, and he remembers all of it, constantly. And then, but it's interesting that he draws such a close relationship with a lesbian woman afterwards, and he's constantly fantasizing about women eating other women out. There's something he wants to go down on a woman so bad, it's just his thing. And this is the sexual life that I've concocted for Bob. And so he's strangely drawn to homosexual women because it brings him closer to that fantasy of his.
That's great. The funny thing also is that Ted has to kind of go around with him and try to have normal interactions while this fucking these panels are going by in Bob's mind.
Yeah. And no one knows, no one knows, just
Bob can barely keep it together too.
He's got a fucking psychiatrist, lawyer's bill. He gets served papers, through this story. And he needs to fucking just take it easy.
Yeah, he needs some time off.
I like some of the action scenes in this. I think Bob has some sort of special forces background or some shit because he's judo flipping people and breaking their compounding, fracturing children's legs.
Yeah, Ted he bailed Ted out a couple times. Ted also bailed him out a couple times though.
Yeah, did he?
Yeah, right at the beginning. Ted saved his ass from those crackheads.
That's
on the
right.
roof or whatever.
Yeah. He pulled the trigger and then he's fussy about it, and then it leads to his death later.
Yeah, he didn't die.
Oh no? Oh
no,
shit.
when he was sitting in the cafe with his weird lesbian girlfriend, Bob told her about how he was in the recovery process.
Oh, that's true. Good. Yeah.
You want to have Detectives Inc. too.
Ted's still in the hospital.
He's a legend.
Yeah. There's more of this too, I think. They did a
I'd like that.
Yeah. Not the same artist. I don't think I'm as interested with. I think it's Jerry Conrad or Conway or something like that. I'm like, no thanks.
No, yes, please.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
We'll go back. Detectives Inc. I don't know how we get those issues. I don't
even know how you got two of these. It's fucked up.
Yeah, getting one was surprising enough, and then finding another one for $2 was just the sweetest thing.
The ice cream,
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Rob's mom taught him to fight the dragons. She didn't tell him how many, though. Bosses, stress, ex-wives, alimony.
That's so stupid.
I really like that. That spoke to me.
You
don't have any ex-wives.
That's true. That's true. I don't. Yeah.
Sure. Once you get him, you start turning into Rodney Dangerfield immediately.
Start turning into Rainier. Yeah. So I don't know. Like eventually, they're trying to solve the mystery of who killed Ruth's passionate female lover.
Yeah,
And,
the big blonde. Yeah.
Yeah. What was her name? Karen?
I think
I wrote it down.
was it Karen?
Shit.
Kathy?
Kathy, sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was Rita, though. That Rita's the character that they're solving this for, correct?
No, Rita's the ex-wife.
Oh yeah, that's right. Rita,
yeah.
And he his fantasies somehow weave between. He has fantasies even when he talks to Rita.
Well, yeah. Well, he talks about how he just wants to, he wants to reach over and feel between her legs, and he's just like this simmering cauldron of sexual anxiety. He's just it's just ready to explode at any given moment. Yeah. And so anyway, they find out that it was exactly who you would think it would be, which is just the jealous boyfriend.
Yeah. He runs down Ted, who gallantly takes the car shot, and then
that's true.
Rob's down at the bottom of the hill. Bob.
Whatever, Rob. Bob. No one's gonna read this book anyway. No one's gonna listen to this episode. I predict least number of listeners ever.
Hashtag coronavirus.
Yeah.
Detective Link. Yeah, so even if you wanted to, you probably can't find this book.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We could say anything we want about this book. We could talk about how the fucking aliens show up, and then it turns into this Cronenberg-esque nightmare landscape. And they would never know.
With cunnilingus.
It's very 80s in that respect, isn't it, then? Because, what is Alien... Alien, I'm not saying anything that no one's already said before, but the Alien franchise, what is that other than severe sexual anxieties? Everything looks like penises or vaginas. Maybe Rob's just tapping into that zeitgeist.
It could be, yeah. The other 80s thing that happened too was when Bob had that fight with the jealous boyfriend at the bottom of the hill by the lake.
Yeah.
And he was getting strangled, pushed under the water, and I literally flashed back to the 1980s Transformers movie when Hot Rod was getting strangled by Galvatron.
Right.
And then fucking Hot Rod just got the touch. That's what happened.
Yeah.
This guy's name's actually Bob, so I don't know how Hot Bob. He came he got the powers from within. Never.
Yeah, I won't.
He came fighting out of the water. Yeah, and he just ended that ex-boyfriend.
Actually, it's very weird what he says coming out. I won't let you take them from me. I won't. Who is he talking about?
He's awesome. He's living. He's living on the brink of a heavy metal sex fantasy world and the real world.
Yeah, he's kind of Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon.
I think that in his own mind, he's not sure if he's living in a dream.
Well, and in his so I'm looking at that 2-page. So it starts off, it's a weird, sexual fantasy scenario. It's on the one where he talks about the threatening green. And so there's Ruth and it's Kathy, whatever her name is. They're getting it on in the forest, and then suddenly Kathy turns into, I guess, is another man, and then Bob comes in from behind, but he's dressed like a movie version of a private detective. He's a movie character coming in, and he just and he grabs the man, and he just tosses him away like he was nothing, and he picks up his new, lesbian lover. And, yeah, and then it shifts over and like Marshall's so good at this. Marshall Rogers, is it Roger? Yeah, Marshall Rogers. So Rogers is so good at this. These panel layouts, like there's so many panels, and the transition's always really smooth.
Yeah, that was like one of the big things that like especially the action transitions and really like any of the transitions, the weird sex fantasy transitions and stuff. Everything was just smooth. Like it was a great. It was really like a well put together package. Like it looked like they were going for broke here. Like I don't know, they had something nice here. Like I was not disappointed by this book at all. And the I think one of the hilarious ending to this whole thing is that like he gets together and has coffee with his lesbian lover, and they don't connect on any level other than he solved a crime. And then he just talks about how Ted's getting better in the hospital and just like goes on with his mustache life.
Yeah, Christmas Day, New Year. I think they connect a little bit, like they did have it, but they're just friends, and maybe we're never going to see each other ever again.
Yes.
She does say goodbye, Bob, at the end. You take care, Ruth.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the book had a lot more heart than I thought it was going to have. Other than Rogers and sometimes wonky, character acting work, and Don McGregor's like sometimes his verbal patter is a little too fast. It doesn't have the right timing. Like sometimes when they're ribbing each other, it just goes by a little too fast. It's a little too like verbally dense. And I think just needs a little more timing, but otherwise it's great.
Yeah, no, I was really surprised by it, but
yeah, no, I was glad we got to dig into it.
Yeah, it was just dark. Like the whole thing, they just kind of spent their lives like, just like the whole thing kind of like made human life seem like it's just spent on the edge of depravity.
I don't know. Doesn't it have like a happy ending at the end though? Like, isn't it like
he's
all positive?
It does. But so what? Then they go back to like solving other like weird crimes for like fucking people living in like squalor, like day to day, just trying to make it by with people murdering them and just
all in a day's work for Detectives Inc., man.
Yeah. Oh, the only thing you do is just get drunk, pass out on your couch, and just dream about giving each other a head. That's all there is.
That's all there. Yeah, I guess so. I don't think that's what the message that this book is trying to sell, but like I definitely I pick up what you're putting down.
I don't know why. That's the message that I took home. It's dark times. Dark times.
Well, it is dark times, but it's like trying to do good in dark times, dealing with your demons. I don't know. Murdering a man on the beach.
Demons is right. It's true.
Yeah. I think this book represents a future in comics that could have been, like it's like a European album. It's thick. It's perfect bound. You can put this on your bookshelf. Marvel did a bunch of this stuff in the 80s, but it was all superhero stories, like I've read some of them and they're kind of really shit for the most part, but you could have had, like, this could have been a Vertigo book. This could have been Image nowadays. This is kind of like a prototype for everything that eventually did make it. And it's kind of a shame that this didn't get to come along.
It's true. Yeah. Like, honestly, I also like the weirdly 80s dressed picture of the creators on the back of the book.
Oh, right.
It's a really great photograph.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like I could have a Bob action figure anytime. With his mustache and his Miami Vice jacket.
Oh, that's true. By Todd.
Little Todd McFarlane, tiny cigarette maybe hanging out of his hand. We missed something special, yeah.
Yeah. What a weird toy to have on your desk, and you would just like he would just be having these weird fucking sex fantasies like.
Yeah, you could have that
At
too.
you all
You
day.
could have like a little thing that you like maybe stick on his back that has like a little pictogram of like women giving head to each other, and he just ponders up at the sky.
Yeah, that's a specialty product.
That's a bit of a fringe action figure, right?
I don't know, just throwing out ideas.
Yeah, just crushing some ideas there, some fantasy toys. It's
So yeah, so that was great.
We got culture.
Yeah, we got culture coming out of here.
All right. How's this for culture?
Classics Corner.
I don't know. Did you want to do the Batmanga?
yeah, let's just kind of flash in and out. We also read Batmanga here from the 60s. And we just didn't have a lot to talk about because it was stupid.
Yeah, this book, like...
it wasn't stupid. It was fun. It was fun to read. Like, I had a blast reading it. But...
Oh, like, this was, like, pulling teeth for me. I really like looking at this book. It really pained me to read it. I think reading it in weekly installments or probably weekly installments would probably do it for me. But I just found it a real slog to bop through. I was surprised, actually.
I may have been under the influence.
I see.
During one of my reading, yeah, because I got really worked up. I could escape my grave anytime, and I might just do it to kill you.
Okay, Lord Deathman, or actually, is he just Deathman here?
Yeah. It was Lord Deathman. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome. Like, as a villain, I understand why Morrison brought him back in Detective Inc. in Batman Incorporated. Yeah, this is a great villain. Like, this is probably like a classic here, and it's a real shame. I guess he's a one-trick pony, though.
He pulled some stunts. Was he a one-trick pony, though? I mean, like, he had some great tactics. Oh, you mean the ancient yoga techniques that stop his heart? Yeah. That was the end.
Yeah, once you know that about him, then.
And you realize that he was just sort of a fucking shitty magician.
Yeah, just like Harry Houdini got the drop on you.
I don't know, man. He really fucking had Batman on his heels.
No, yeah, and like, yeah, he's having these nightmares, and he's deeply troubled. Like, that was the only, and I think that's another reason that the story really spoke to me, more than the others, is because, like, I felt there was some real drama here. Like, Batman was intrigued by this guy and concerned, and he felt like a proper villain. And then the rest for me felt a lot more like the 1960s television show.
Yes. Definitely I see how they're from the same era, kind of,
Mm-hmm. Well, they're 1966, 1967. Like, it's during the Batman television show. Japan goes Batman crazy for a little while, and these comics are produced. And then when the show goes...
Batman and Robin also butchered Lord Deathman.
How so? What did they...
They like had his helicopter fly into like a power converter and like fucking blew him to hell.
Oh my goodness gracious, you're right.
They hooked him with like a fucking
pitiful
batarang and murdered him.
Yeah. Those power lines set off his bomb. So much for him.
No, they killed him.
Well, it says a pitiful end even for Lord Deathman. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they actually made his helicopter fly into the fucking power converter. I mean, like, it's not like a fucking mysterious thing happened that made the bomb blow up and the helicopter crash. Like, they're fuckers.
No, okay, so they threw a smoke bomb. And so he can't see. I can't see through this smoke. Drat it. He's going through the thing. Uh-oh, power lines. I've got to dodge them. So, it's not...
They killed him.
Well, they indirectly. It's manslaughter at best.
Yeah, okay. And even then, I guess he was kind of shouldn't have been chasing them.
Yeah, at the very least, unlicensed helicopter piloting. Yeah. I love these action scenes. Like this 2-page spread of Batman, like, make a centrifuge, and he's swinging around and kicking all Lord Deathman's little cronies. That looks great.
Yeah, the panel by panel like art and fight sequences and stuff were really well put together.
Mm-hmm.
All the action was great. It was all sharp. The art was very consistent. The panels just like I don't know. It took me a bit to kind of get used to reading it in that goofy way.
In the proper manga way?
Yeah, okay, my bad.
Fucking Japanese. Jeez.
There's some manga fan out there cringing. Idiots.
Anyway, once you get into it though, you're just like, it's
when I was flowing through it once I got it going, but that was great. And then they had a couple other dumb villains, like the rubber guy, the human ball, and the fucking Dr. Denton. I didn't like any of that. That was garbage.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna fucking talk about it.
Yeah, it really bugged me. Other than like, there's a lot of bouncing in these stories. Like, bouncing plays a really important role in the defeat of any villain. Got to have a good bounce.
Yeah, the Professor Gorilla wasn't too bad.
No, that was pretty cool.
He was actually like an actual terrorist. He bombed a theater and killed real people.
Oh yeah, fuck! I forgot about that. Yeah,
he actually like terror bombed a theater, like, and killed civilians and stuff. That was actually, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened?
Highways, buildings, bridges, one by one, he destroys them all, and you're just like, Jesus, Batman, please do something. Like, Batman wasn't doing anything; he was just waiting.
Yeah, and then he gets murked. He gets fucking caught in a booby trap, and the fucking monkey almost steals his brain. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, man, he was on his heels. Professor Gorilla had him dead to rights there.
Yeah. And then
Batman acquired gorilla strength, and that basically fucked over Professor Gorilla pretty hard.
Poor Professor Gorilla. And he was just an angry monkey, and wouldn't you be?
Yeah. I mean, this
Robin.
is fucking Planet of the Apes all over again. I understand how they feel.
Right. Batmanga.
Yeah, Batmanga, my friends. Right there.
Check her out. She's a beaut.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. What else is on your mind?
That was all that was on my mind for Batmanga, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Keep going.
More surprises.
Oh, yeah. Big surprise. Huge surprise.
You got anything coming up? Our library's closed suddenly today. So yours might be closed now too.
That's possible. So
I'm happy
I'm not happy about this fucking person that has a lease out on the book we're supposed to review.
Well, that's fine. There's lots of books.
Yeah, it's
you won't be able to get it anyway.
Some sweaty prick, and he's been hoarding it.
Oh, and it's such a quick read,
He's probably not even bringing it back. He's just gonna take the fine.
What a.
It's gonna sit. I'm gonna be like fucking guy number 2 on the fucking reservation list that never gets it.
Well, that's okay. We'll get around to it when we get around to it.
Yeah, man. Everything government's gonna close first, and then anybody else that's running on a capitalist style thing, where they actually like need retail and food service and shit like that. Those frontline fuckers are all going to be stuck out there, and then you're just going to get a bunch of emails from fucking Subway and shit being like, hey, we're wearing extra rubber gloves and we're sanitizing our meat, and you just come on into Subway, and the fucking kid's getting paid $14 an hour is going to die in there.
Huh.
All the government employees are off work. Yeah.
Yeah, well, come on, man. We got to take it easy.
Oh, shit. Are you one of those? Technically?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. You working
I'm
from
like
home? Yeah, I see
I'm
what's
working
going
from
on
home.
here.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Adam,
one of our other previous friends of the podcast, also used the fucking acronym WFH or whatever.
WFH, man.
Yeah, okay, and I had to ask him what that meant because I don't fucking understand work from home. Work from home is not actually a fucking thing in the real world.
Yeah. Well, I had to answer emails and do this thing. I got stuff to do.
Makes sense, yeah.
A lot of and this gets a lot of jobs, except for the kind that you're describing, where you actually have to be physically present.
It's like every job.
Well, no, because a lot of it's you don't have to deal with people directly. It's just a lot of bullshit jobs. There's a lot of bullshit jobs out there where you're just doing whatever, and sometimes it makes no sense for you to even have an office or be at the office.
WFH, bro.
Yeah, man, that's right. Although I like going to the office, I like going to work because it's the time of peace for me. I don't have to deal. I could just go out into the world, do some work.
I'm starting to think I'm maybe just not built for. I'm gonna need to downgrade what I'm doing at work. I'm gonna do something else maybe.
You're gonna go straight Bob Rayner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just gonna.
What are you gonna do? Can you be a PI? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think so. I saw a school for it somewhere. You probably should be ex-police officer and.
Why?
Something. I
don't know. Fucking do anything.
What, ex-police officers or PIs?
Yeah, cops don't know anything.
Well, maybe if you were a detective.
They just have a bunch of resources and stuff. If you were a detective, you would not go private because you'd be making that big ass money.
Well, maybe
there's a detective out there rolling over in his grave.
Oh no, cops get paid a lot. Yeah, let's not. Yeah, man, they're making money and they're all unionized, and yeah, man, we pay our what do we want to call them? Our hired gang. We pay them very well, and rightly so.
Yeah, exactly. Who's gonna fucking give us parking violation tickets and shit?
They are the thin veneer. When you're talking about earlier, when you were talking about things being papered over, one of the things that papers it over is the cop doing the traffic violation, is the police officer patrolling the neighborhood. They are physical representations of assurance that everything is okay and everything's in order. And we pay them for it. Also, they show up at weird calls at midnight when people are brandishing knives and shit. They put up with a lot. I would hate to be a goddamn police officer, man.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's fair. That's fair. Thank you to our police force.
Thank you to our men in blue, our men and women in blue.
Good work out there. Couldn't keep that going.
Stock up on toilet paper.
Yeah. Put a few of those blue badges out in front of the old no frills.
Oh yeah, but that's exactly what I was thinking, man. Keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
In these difficult, dark times.
1 pack of water each, you fucking animals.
I bought I bought some water. Not today, earlier, because I always keep I keep bits. And but anyway, I bought some water, and these fucking plastic containers, they rupture so easily. I've got one that's slowly, it's like a 10-liter thing, and it's just slowly leaking out. I had to put it beside the drain, and but it's taking on this weird shape as it goes, it's sucking all the air with it. It's a really weird effect, and it's happening very slowly, but it's deforming as it goes.
And you're not going to be able to use this in time?
Well, for what? What am I supposed to do? Like, right now I'm more fascinated by the process before me. Like, what the fuck's going on? What's it going to turn into? How far will it go?
And you just put a piece of tape over the hole, maybe, and just open it and drink it.
I'm not going to learn anything from that.
That's true.
I'm just going to leave it. Just
learn
plenty of water. There's plenty of water, man. We're good. We're good.
Plenty of water out there in the world. Should be fine.
Yeah, there's none. Yeah. This is, I don't know, this is going to be big, man. This is going to be like post 9/11 shit. Like, after this is over, this is a game changer as far as like national security policy goes, as far as, hopefully global international cooperation. Maybe the UN will get a shot in the arm after this. Like, everybody better fucking get together and stop being assholes, because this is the real problem, not all the stuff that we fuss about.
Yeah, I said that somebody. I read an article that said that during the House of Commons, that how they all get together and kind of balk at each other.
Yeah.
That it was like each of them had a bucket of water thrown in their faces.
Okay.
It was just like a totally different tone.
Right.
Which,
well, everyone,
obviously, right, but
no, but that it's important to see, like what's not going to be good. Yeah,
it's important to see what a real problem looks like, instead of Doug Ford's license plates.
Oh fuck! I didn't know about that.
Drop that bomb in here tonight.
Yeah. I didn't know about that, and it was that's such a Doug Ford government thing to have done. Just rush through some license plates that can't be read in the dark.
It's perfect.
Yeah. That was the issue, right? That was what everybody was fussing about.
They can't be read in the dark, and if you shine lights on them, they glaze right over. They just reflect back in your face.
Oh my god. Amazing.
Basically, like, the only thing that, if you were constructing a license plate, I feel like in your list of things that you would want to make sure of, number one on the list would have to be visibility.
Legibility
both
in the dark.
Day and night.
Yeah. And then reflectiveness.
Maybe durability would come third or fourth.
Oh, right. Yeah, I heard that too, that they were all fucking shitty.
Well, that was the big thing, was that I think the old ones were peeling, and he wanted to make these, ones that would never peel.
Right.
But then didn't take into account visibility. Which is impressive to get a group of people together and invest in something and not
think about the most basic elements. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know.
We're going to be building
fine.
the best car.
We're going to be fine.
But, you don't have a windshield on.
Yeah. Shit.
It's the best car in the world. I can't see out of it.
Yeah, this guy is
shit.
Yeah. Guy's a fucking walking nightmare. I don't know. It's like this is a completely different topic, but it's not a different topic, but it's a different tact. For someone who, he really wants to be the people, he's going for that populist vibe, buck a beer, changing the Ontario symbol back to its old, not moving from the trillium back to whatever it was. He's just kind of signaling we're going back to basics and we're Ontario and remember Ontario, guys, make Ontario great again, all that shit. And he picks these really basic things, and you'd think a license plate could have been a slam dunk for him. Not to defend him, but that's perfect for his brand. But in fucking it up, this is what people are going to remember. People don't remember when you instituted a 0.5% tax on ham or some shit like that. They remember when you fucked up a license plate, and because it's something that affects every driver.
It's also something that even in taking that on, he must have thought to himself, there's no fucking idiot in the world that could mess this up.
I guess that's possible. I guess this hubris? He flew too close to the sun on this one?
I think so. What's more simple than constructing a license plate? Like, what could be like, what's less difficult than that? I think chewing gum's more complicated than that.
Well, if television is any indication, all you got to do is pull down a lever and then a machine goes thunk.
I'm not even talking about that. That's already in place. Like, you
Yeah.
already have that stuff.
So it's just a bunch.
It's
It's all about
printing
food coloring.
press.
Yeah.
You're like, you already have people doing this. You just literally have to kind of like spearhead the fucking visibility and durability.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's a fucking idiot, and good. I like so.
Or he outsourced it to an idiot, which just makes you look like an even bigger idiot.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. I don't know. I just remember the Minister of Transportation responding to it, and I think she's a dummy. I think he outsourced it to like a dummy outsourced it to another dummy, and this is what we got. And yeah. So yeah, I didn't know about that until I saw one of them, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Someone was like, "Oh, you didn't hear?"
Yeah, I'm really disconnected. Like in a lot of ways, I feel that I'm connected to whatever's going on, and then in a lot of ways, I don't have a fucking clue what's going on.
Honestly, I probably spend my time reading like too much smut news, and it's just wasteful.
Probably. But then on the other hand, you got a sense of what everybody's talking about.
Yeah, on the other hand, I'd probably get more personally out of sampling different types of cream corn.
Man, I love cream corn. That's not a bad idea.
No, I mean, I could find the best one. I'm probably sure it's that one with the green giant on it, though.
I think so. I wouldn't want to buy like a gourmet or a craft cream corn. I don't know.
And you don't want to go too far down the ladder either into the no name.
Oh my god! What fucking horror lurks down there? Like what?
At what cost?
Yeah, what kind of fucking cream corn? Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick to my like middle zone cream corn. Get the premium shit. But but we're talking about a taste test. We're talking about like sampling to find the best. Maybe the best is no name. Maybe you would just really love its blend of fucking curds and whatever. I don't even know what's in fucking cream corn. Corn? There's corn. I'm certain of that.
Probably some kind of like congealed cream.
I feel it's mostly corn husks. I don't feel that you're getting.
It's like old corn and like probably it's condensed milk and sugar and preservatives.
Oh. Funny thing, when I was stocking up for the, because I stocked up like ahead of time for this virus thing, and I was certain to get the cream corn because I would want that. Although I don't eat cream corn regularly.
No, who
Listeners.
would? You can't. You can't digest it.
Tastes so good. All right. All right. Okay, this is like a 2-hour episode. I have no idea.
Yeah, this is great. We'd probably can it right here. It's like cream corn.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Next week, if you're still listening, we're going to read. What the fuck are we reading next week? Punisher. Oh fuck, Punisher.
Oh, I thought you said it for a second. I was like, oh fuck, I didn't read the thing.
No, Punisher. The old Circle of Blood.
Yep.
With Stephen Grant and Mike Zeck, and then someone who by issue 5, I don't even know. Just someone who like brought in on like the weekend and put him on overtime just to shit it out.
I'm pretty excited for that issue now that you've like hyped it in a negative way.
It's just really underwhelming because like, you know, we'll have a chance to talk about this, but like Mike Zeck's art is fucking on point. It's amazing, and then all of a sudden that quality just gets sucked right out of the room, and it looks like something that was drawn in a weekend, and probably has like 7 inkers. I don't know. It was a real shit job.
Nice.
Real letdown. And then Dragon Ball Super.
That's right. We're going to review a little snippet of Dragon Ball Super. Some big spoilers in those episodes, too. The actual identity of Goku Black.
So that's issues or episodes 55 to 58, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and we're gonna free range it as well. You know, we're gonna have lots to talk about on both fronts. Lots of things to say about the Punisher. Lots of things to say about Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball in general.
Excellent.
All right. Tune in next time.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.